Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to deconstruct the story of a family's catastrophic fall from grace to really understand how a crisis can show you who a person truly is.
Wow. That quote just hits you right in the chest, doesn't it? That's our protagonist, Leon Schwegang, and this is the exact moment his entire world has just crumbled. He's standing in the wreckage of his family's legacy, and we're about to unpack the insane chain of events that got him here.
So first, we have to get our heads around the sheer speed of the Leon family's downfall. I mean, this wasn't some slow, gradual decline. No, this was a rapid-fire, absolutely brutal series of events that just brought them to their knees.
The story just throws us right into the deep end of the crisis. A guy from the bank shows up, and the news is, it's devastating. The family home, the very foundation of who they are, is being taken away. And the timing? Oh, it's just unbelievably cruel. They have to be out by that very night, on the same day as a family funeral.
Okay, this slide really shows you the dominoes falling one after the other. It wasn't just one bad thing, it was a catastrophic chain reaction. The marriage fails, which forces the father into this desperate trip, which tragically ends with his death. And that leaves the family completely exposed right when the bank decides to call in the loan. It's the absolute perfect storm of misfortune, and it all happens in the blink of an eye.
All right, so let's shift gears a little and look at how all these external disasters create this massive internal conflict for two of our main characters. Because this story isn't just about losing money, it's about the crushing psychological weight of it all.
And this is where the story gets really interesting. You've got two men, Su Sheng and his uncle Doxy, and they are both just eaten alive by guilt over the family's ruin, but for completely different reasons. Su Sheng's guilt, it's all about duty, about feeling like he failed as a son. But his uncle? Man, he's carrying this secret, almost sci-fi burden. He thinks he actually messed with the past and caused the whole thing. So you have these two guys, suffering side by side, but totally alone in their own private torment.
So for Schwegang, this is the crucial point. This goes so far beyond just a financial problem. It feels like a deep spiritual failure. In his mind, he hasn't just lost a house. He feels like he's disgraced generations of his family. And that crushing internal feeling is immediately met by an equally crushing new reality on the outside. This collapse yanks the family out of their comfortable life and throws them into a new, incredibly humbling world. The story really makes a point of showing us just how jarring this change is.
Just look at this slide. It says it all, right? This is the picture of their fall from grace. They go from being the little Tokay, a family with status, a plantation, servants, to being crammed into one tiny room sleeping on the floor. Every single comfort, every little thing that defined their old life is just gone. They're living a nightmare they never could have imagined.
Wow, that one line from a friend who takes them in, it just says everything. All the old rules of success and status are out the window. Now the only thing that matters is basic survival. You have a roof? That's the new win. The luxury of complaining is a privilege they just don't have anymore.
But you know, it's in this brutal new world that the story starts to pivot. From the ashes of their old life, new connections start to form. Some are good, and some are very bad. So here's a quick look at the new players on the board. You've got these loyal childhood friends who form a kind of safety net. There's a possible new romance with the landlord's daughter, and then the runaway bride, the woman whose actions kicked this whole thing off. She's back in the picture. And the dangers of this new life? They show up almost immediately. While they're trying to make just a little bit of money selling pastries on the street, some local thugs show up and demand protection money.
And of course, they can't pay, so the situation gets tense, and the thugs end up stealing Shugung's watch. It's like the last physical piece of his old life, of his old status, and they just call it interest.
The whole thing ends with them literally running and hiding in the streets. It's a painful lesson. Their family name, their wealth, none of that protects them anymore. They are completely vulnerable. But even with all this going on, we start to see the first real signs of hope. See, this isn't just a story about falling down. It's about what you do after you've hit rock bottom. It's about whether you stay down or you find a way to get back up.
Now, these might look like small steps, but you have to understand, for a guy who was once called Little Tokay, this is absolutely monumental. He swallows his pride to sell food on the street. He accepts a job from a friend, and he just jumps right into it. This is where we see his true character being forged in that fire of humility. And it shows he's willing to start over from scratch. And this is such a fascinating contrast.
You've got two people at the center of this crisis, but their paths just totally split. Xu Ging is starting to find his feet, right? He's got a job, friends. But Chen Chunxian, the runaway bride, she is completely alone, disowned, homeless, and doing backbreaking manual labor just to eat. They are both paying a massive price for what happened, but their futures are heading in completely different directions.
And there it is. That's the turning point. All that grief, all that guilt, it finally hardens into a new, powerful mission. He's not just surviving anymore. He has a goal. And that promise right there is going to be the engine that drives everything he does next.
So, what's the big takeaway from all this? It's that a crisis like this is like a fire. It burns away all the external stuff, the status, the money, the reputation, and it forces everyone to face who they really are underneath it all. Yeah, it's destructive, but you know what? It's also transformative.
And that's the powerful question this whole story leaves us with. It's not just for the characters, it's for us too. When the life you knew is completely gone and the future is a total blank slate, who do you choose to be? It's in those choices, in the act of rebuilding from the ruins, that real character is shown.